All right, we are live. Welcome to BS Session 85, live from Alberta's Outback. It's Friday night at the Nose Hills Gun Club.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.
To cut that mic out. Good evening, guys. How are you doing?
100%. How are you guys?
100%. Well, certainly a whole lot better than what we're wrestling with for the past 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All the tacky issues. No, we're good here. I think we're out in rural Alberta at a great gun range. Do anything you want. Well, I mean, yeah. How do I say this? Do anything you want, legal firearms related at this range.
Well, no one's looking.
The only complaint is that wind. What do we have for wind? Was it like 60 or 70 kilometers today?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, we just got over that. We had some pretty wild weather.
Oh, I see. You sent it here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Driving in
well,
from Edmonton, I didn't have to touch the pedal. I just sailed in, actually.
Right.
I didn't use any gas, actually. It was great.
Just put
Trudeau will
it
give you
Yeah.
Trudeau can give you some carbon tax back.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm sure that'll happen. Yeah, just make the application by Monday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what, guys? For anybody listening, all 5 of you that appear to be on the show right now, we've got Curtis Gordon and Dawson. Crap, I can't remember your last name now. Help me out, Dawson. Or Curtis.
Dawson Keene.
No.
Can you hear him, Dawson?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With Engaged Precision in Manitoba. So let's pay some bills, I guess.
Yeah,
We'll get through
betcha.
that.
We are brought to you by EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Find Shane and Steve on Facebook, Instagram, at their website at emprifles.ca.
Should print it off 2 of these.
But that would have been smart.
All right.
Not that we're not smart.
Well,
Clarify that.
I was always told, Mom always told me, you're a really good kid. Didn't say anything about my intelligence. We're also brought to you by Bolt Action Coffee, specialty coffee, bringing Canada's specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com.
We're also brought to you by Callsign 66, Canada's best rifle training. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course now at callsign66.ca and follow them at on Instagram at callsign66 and on Facebook at C/S66.
That's a tough one.
It is a little bit of a
Can you guys
manipulator.
Can you guys hear us all right? Both of us sharing the same mic? We're close enough that we're good?
You sound good to me.
Okay. I've been told that
Yeah.
before. Too.
Yeah.
We're also here with Odell Engineering. Pick up Okay, I'm going to start again.
Yeah. Start over.
We're here with Odell Engineering. Pick up a Canuck shotgun or Bergara rifle from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. Look them up on Instagram, Flakebook, and on their website at odellengineeringltd.com. You'd think I'd know these off by heart.
Yeah, it's only been a while.
Yeah.
We're also brought to you
Good
by
kid.
Apex Optics. Precision comes standard. Check out the fine competition rifle scopes, red dots, and binoculars at apexoptics.co. Be sure to check out their pre-sale special for the Apex Optics binoculars and red dots. Luckily, there's a big old list that we're reading beforehand, and I'm running out of breath normally by the end of it.
Pared it
But
down for us.
there's some great 15 by 56s, two red dots, and some other products. So check them out.
And Ribstone Gunsmithing. This fella sitting right over here, president of the Nose Hills Gun Range near Consort, Alberta. I'm a whip tonight. Ribstone Gunsmithing, craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar at ripstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm.
Just don't contact him right now because we're borrowing his Wi-Fi off his phone. So...
And don't lend him your reloading press.
Yes. We'll get into that. We're also brought to you by the Shooting Edge in Calgary, Alberta, home of the Sterling Arms R18, an indoor range, training courses, a new 6-lane axe throwing bay, and the One Shot, One Spill Cafe. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and at their website, theshootingedge.com.
And reportedly, the best nachos in Western Canada.
Very good nachos.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Haven't been yet. Had one opportunity. Totally blew it. Anyway, next time. Life was full of second chances, isn't it?
Allegedly.
Except we have a liberal government. Wait, we're gonna get.
We're waiting on that second chance.
Jagmeet's gonna be prime minister right away.
Oh dear, don't say that.
It's too early in the show to start talking politics.
Yeah, the politics are for the end.
All right, last but not least, we have March Scopes Canada with us. The Dion Optical Design line of rifle scopes has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Nisa at marchscopes.ca. All right, away we go. So, guys, Kurt and Dawson, Engage Precision near near or in Killarney, Manitoba.
Why don't you sort this out for them here, Dawson? Because I think they're a little bit confused.
Wait, Killarney came from your website, totally.
No.
Okay, correct me.
Confusion's our middle
Correct
name.
me, Daddy.
All right.
I mean the relationship between Pancake Lake Precision and Engage.
Oh, yeah. It seems to be.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Okay.
So our match originally started as Pancake Lake Precision, and then Engage Precision became our sponsor the last couple of years. So
Oh.
Pancake Lake was just it's a heritage site from the Boundary Mission Trail, and so we kind of struggled with the name, and everybody recognized where it was along the highway. It's an easy spot to get to, so that's kind of how Pancake Lake was born. Yeah.
Okay, so I completely screwed up then, and I put the Engage Precision logo on the show notification or whatever.
No, that's
That was
totally
wrong.
fine. He's our title sponsor.
Yeah, that's cool.
He can have it.
He can have it. Thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
I obviously failed to do my homework well
Just
at all.
back to the beginning. It was always Pancake Lake Precision is where we started, but now there are sponsor like Kurt said. So.
All right, so why don't you guys take some time then, please, and tell us all about all the stuff that we should have known that we've so far fucked up. I don't feel like stuffing another size 10 down my throat. I already have one in there by the sounds of it.
No, you're doing good. Doss, do you want me to just? I'll just. Sorry, this echoing thing is driving me nuts. I'm just going to back these up here and talk. I'll just kind of go over how we got started in this whole thing. So basically, Pancake Lake Precision started in 2019. Dawson and I attended a match together. It was my second match. It would have been Dawson's first match in the PRS competition world. Ryan Christie was hosting it at the Shiloh Canadian Forces base, and we went there. We did really well. Actually, I'll give Dawson a little bit of limelight here. He won the military law enforcement division in his first match ever, so pat yourself, Doss. Anyways, I think it was on the way home from that match we kind of got talking. I think it was on the way home from that match, how we wanted to keep shooting and we didn't know where else to shoot. My first match was a year before that at a Sapro match down in Tabor. and that's where I fell in love with the sport. And so when I came home, said to Dawson, I'm like, hey, um, let's go to this, let's go to Ryan's match. And so we decided that we were going to, instead of wonder where we're going to shoot, we're like, you know what? Why don't we just host a match? Why don't we just put a
Right.
match on? No, like it didn't seem too hard, but
I think we
what
kind
we
of already
did,
had, we already had a spot.
right? Yeah, and I guess we should start there. Is Dawson had a amazing place to shoot, an unbelievable landowner, and so I think we were out there one day shooting, and we were just like, why don't we just host the match here?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so our basically
Yep.
our first year, what we did was we set up a 2-day match. Was our first match, and it was just we just called our buddies, everyone we knew that shot. I think we maybe had 20, 25 people there at that first
Okay.
match, just kind of like an invitational.
Yeah.
Um, we had a great time, and a funny story. I believe this was our first match, Doc. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but after Saturday, in between Saturday and Sunday, that evening we set up on a ravine hill, and we had about 20 or 25 people with everything from 223, 65, 308, 22s, and we killed every gopher in that pasture. There wasn't a gopher left, and to this day, even the farmer says he's never seen it so clean. So,
Yeah.
Is
um,
that right?
Yeah.
so it
And the
started
grass
out
is
as
growing
just
better because all the
There's a couple
aeration.
guys that were shooting. Yeah, there's a couple guys shooting with me this spring here, and it was fairly early on, and there was a couple gophers running around, and he took a shot at one, and he didn't hit it. But I'm like, man, you got to leave those. Like, there's very few. We need some seed. We need some gophers
Right.
to come back so we can have another shoot. So gophers are off
Yeah.
limits
Spring
for like
back.
another couple of months.
Yeah.
yeah.
Your
So
inner conservationist came out. Hey.
That was kind
yeah,
of a prerequisite of a landowner. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
He
so
said, you
that's
guys
kind
can
of
shoot here, but you
sorry.
got to shoot gophers and coyotes.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of how it first started. It was just an invitational thing, and then later on that year we hosted a 1-day match, just because
Mhm.
I didn't have kids yet. Things were pretty free at my end, so it was kind of like, let's give her.
Right.
So
What
we
year was
hosted
that? I
2019.
recall. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can think of times in the past where I was aware of your matches going on. I'm just trying to think about how far
Hmm.
back I was aware of them at least. But anyway,
Right.
go on.
Um, so yeah, then we hosted a 1-day match, and then after that, we kind of just kept on with our 2-day match every year, in 2020, 21. And then after 21 is when we kind of started seeing the growth of it. We were
Hmm.
getting people from different provinces. It wasn't really an invite anymore. It was a practice score thing, people signing up, and then it started to take off. Um, in 20, is in 22 is the first year we actually had trophies. Before it was
Right.
just bragging rights and um,
Yeah.
a bit of fun, basically. And then in 20, actually last year was the first year we ever had a prize table, and we partnered with Zach and Shauna Price. They host the Inside Arms Rifleman Team Challenge here in Wawanesa.
Right. I was going to ask about those two because I thought there was some involvement there
Yeah,
as well.
so we partner with them
Okay.
because Shauna has this way of getting
Yeah.
a prize table like no other, and
That's what I've heard. Good.
I'm
Some
not gonna say how
connections.
she does it. I have my suspicions, but
Maybe
is
she's
she is she
she's
is
Fat
she
Tony's cousin. I don't know.
so
Uh,
she helped us out with the prize table last year, and it was phenomenal. And as well as our title sponsor Engage, they did a great job last year too.
Hmm.
They made our trophies last year, and last year was kind of our first like real, you know, I would say we checked all the marks, as far as a match goes. And then this year, we
yeah.
we joined WPR, the Western Precision Rifle League,
Mm.
and we did that in an attempt to drop some American competitors just because of how close we are to the border. We're only,
Right.
what are we, 5 miles, Doss?
Oh, is Killarney that close? Really?
Well, our match is only
Six
about 5.
6 miles, I think.
Sure.
6 7 miles.
Yeah.
Is
So,
that right? Okay.
so we decided
Yeah,
that, hey, because North Dakota has a pretty big Western precision rifle
You
following,
bet. Yeah.
so we thought, we'd
What's
try
the
this.
name of the guy that's
do.
running WPR? We had him on a while back.
Peter Knight.
Peter, right?
Yeah. So we talked to him,
Right.
and he was really good to us, and
Mm-hmm.
so WPR is all kind of club series 1-day matches, right? So we host a 2-day match, so that didn't really fall quite into line.
Yeah.
So I talked to Peter, and he said, if we could rig it up where we still have a 2-day match, but we have 2 single-day scoring, so someone can come to our match and get 2 single-day scores for the series. He thought that'd be kind of a cool thing, so we went with it, and time will tell. We have a few signed up from the States, and it was just a hope to get some American shooters up to kind of expand our match, expand the numbers. Where we go with that in the future is to
And
be.
it doesn't change anything.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything for the competitors that just want to come and shoot the 2 days, right? If they're not a WPR member,
Right.
they'll come and shoot the two
Yeah, just
days
come
like they
shoot the
always
match
have, and it
regardless,
doesn't
right?
change anything for those guys.
Yeah. And so the winner of our match will still be a 2-day combined score.
Yeah.
So that's
Combine
how
their
our
points for
trophies
the
are
2
set
days,
up. It's still a 2-day
and,
match, but
they're
if
good.
you shot it and you're a WPR member, you got to take home 2 scores in one weekend, and that's kind of a unique thing for
Nice.
the WPR. So
Yeah, talking to Peter there, that when we had him on, it sounds like a pretty damn good format. It kind of seems like it sort of gets away from a lot of the, I don't know I want to say elitist type activity. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's a little bit strong.
Yes,
But yeah, I think that's right. But
what
anyways,
what
it
I
seems like a good format.
what I kind of like about that series is it divides people up into 3 different classes, and so if you're a C class shooter, you can achieve to be a B class shooter, and then when you're a B class shooter, you can achieve to be an A class shooter.
Yeah.
Where in the PRS world, as of right now, if there's 100 competitors, you finish 80th all the time. You're just 80th. Like, it's not, you don't really know. But if all of a sudden you're a C class shooter, and you say you won the B division that one match, you'd be pretty proud of yourself, right? You kind of work towards something. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta bring this up here. Scott in the comments, he brought it up quite. I'd say, well, he says I need a special needs class.
I was wondering when.
I can
wondering
sympathize
when
with that sentiment.
Yeah.
Chacho, he came to our very first match. He was part of the Go for Destruction. And I'm waiting for him to make an appearance at our match again. So you know what?
Yep.
For 2024, next weekend, we have a special needs class. Officially, we're going to announce it right now. So Scott, you're in.
Just for Scotty.
Do you have a crown for him?
And you're going to be
Yeah.
the only competitor, so you're going to get first place.
Yeah, we'll have a Dollarama tutu you can wear when you win.
Yeah. Yeah, Oscar just suggested one of those hats with the propeller on top. I think that's very, very apt. Yeah.
Is there more room in that class? I'm asking for a friend.
Well, you'll have to ask Scott. He's competitive.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to address one more thing. We've had Boom Country Hydrographics on here. He pops in every once in a while. He's feeling pretty rough. A four-wheeler kind of had its way with him. But he's been working on 257 SRT. It's near as I can tell, it's like a 260 neck down to 25 and improved somewhat. He's pretty excited about it. He likes to tell us about it. I'm kind of
Mopar
communicating
product.
back and forth with him a little bit whenever I remember. and looking forward to see that. Poor guy is he started out in the chat saying he's high. He just got out of surgery, so I feel for him. I've been there. I don't know if I feel ever felt as bad as he's describing right now, but anyway, good to see you here, Boom. And of course, Yukai Kazi's here as well, offering all sorts of advice like he does every show. We're grateful.
I just wanna go backwards a little bit, like setting up a match from scratch.
Oh man,
What was kind of the growing pains that that happened, and what was the quick, fast lessons that you learned from setting up a match out of nothing?
Doss, do you want to take it for a bit? I'll jump in when I think necessary, but
Sure. Um, it wasn't too bad, honestly. One thing with Kurt and I is we are always kind of on the same page. The things that are important to us in setting up a match, we don't ever argue about them. We just kind of think the same way when it comes to setting up matches. Occasionally, I have to keep him in check and be like, Kurt, that target is a little too small. Like, we want guys to come out and hit steel. We don't want them to pound dirt all day. So we got to put some bigger targets up every once in a while. But our competitors tell us lots too, right? We talk to everybody after the match and the stages they like, the stages they didn't like. And to me, kind of the little things are important. Like all of our stages, all of our props, we go around and we weed whip all around the props so guys can find the brass. Like,
oh yeah.
for me in this world, I hate losing brass, and it just speeds up the flow of the match. So left or right side of the prop, we weed whip all around them, and so it just speeds things up. We kind of accumulated a good variety of targets and target sizes, steel, so we can be fairly creative with our stages. And we've been on that property since, what did we say, 2019? And
yeah.
even this year, we found some new places to shoot. Yeah. So
Oh, that's nice.
challenges,
I'll-
challenges.
Do you mind if I jump in for a sec, Doss?
Cows are a challenge. They're, yeah. Go ahead, Kurt.
So when we first got started, we had no steel. I shouldn't say no steel. Dawson and I had, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 targets.
A few pieces.
Um, So we do have to give credit to the Shiloh Gun Club at that time, Ryan
you're right.
Christie, and I think Nick. What's Nick's last? I screwed up even at our match every year. Ozzy Chuck or I can't.
He knows who he is. I
That's
assume.
Doesn't matter.
Just Nick.
Nick,
Yeah,
everybody,
we know this
everybody knows who Nick is. Everyone
Yeah,
knows.
if you don't know who Nick is, just come to our match.
Problem
Anyways,
solved.
they rent or didn't even rent us. They gave us the steel to use to put on the match. And without that, Pancake Lake would have never started. And thanks, Chacho. And because we were given that steel, we were able to put the match on. And then any money we've made, even to this day, we've always put back into our match. And what we have now after 7, I guess this will be our 7th match this year. So after 6 matches, we finally have enough stuff to put on, I would say, as good a match as any. But it took that kickstart from generous people to get us started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point, Kurt. Thanks, man.
I'm just replying here.
So what's kind of evolving in the matches? Like,
I
what
was
do you
talking about
see-
cows, so, and we always joke about this, and it seems. Let me go back to that quick. So
Yep, go ahead.
our shooting venues in a cattle pasture, and anybody who has steel in cattle pastures will understand this. I swear that they have a competition to see which or how many steel plates they can rip off the T-post in a day. If you hang a steel plate on it, they will rip it off. If you set up a prop in the middle of the pasture, they will all mill around there and shit there as much as they possibly can until they purge their bowels and then move on to the next prop.
100%. It's just like
We've had that
anything
happen.
new. they'll
times, yeah.
scratch on and try to eat maybe a little bit
Yeah,
and shit all over it. It's just the cow
yeah.
way.
I think the cows do that so you get better splash, especially when it's fresh.
Yeah.
You get
Oh,
some
Yeah.
good splash off a cow pie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
That's awesome.
go
Okay,
ahead,
so
Troy.
you're talking about target sizes and that before, or have I kicked you off? Were you going somewhere with how you evolved?
No, we
No,
just
keep
had one
going.
more other question. We kind of interrupted there.
Um, I don't know.
I was saying,
Is it
just
important?
how do you see the matches evolving? Like, kind of what are some things kind of being tweaked in the last few years and kind of upcoming,
Uh,
if something stands out?
um, that's a deep question. I could take that a few
Mhm.
different ways.
Yeah,
I
fair.
I do want to touch on all the things that just popped into my head tonight. But
Yeah,
Giver.
as
it's all
far
about
as
you.
well, I don't know if
I'm
it's
going to
all about
say
me.
our props have evolved. So I think maybe that's where that question was going. But we got some
Did
delay
you
here.
hear
But
what
I
he
think
said?
our props have evolved. We
Oh, I
started
Yeah,
with
see.
yeah.
some
Yeah,
pretty janky
yeah.
props to begin with. Now we're spending a
Mm.
little more time building better props, props that are a little more stable, and just kind of more or easier for guys to have good impacts or good precision shots, and they're not fighting a janky wobbly prop all the time.
Right. So
Um,
there's a couple of things there. It kind of ties in a little bit with my target size question that I was going to try to get in earlier. But to me, yes, it's nice to shoot off good stable props, and it's good especially for the what do you say the greener shooters, the less experienced in that. But you gotta have some janky props, and also like, and it's great. We've gone through the same thing lots at our range out at the farm, um, where if you make the targets too challenging, then some people tend to get frustrated and well, they don't want to come back and all that kind of stuff. And with the exception of a few, you don't want to see that happen. You want most people to come back, not all of them. But you have some gimme targets and some how do you say middle of the road targets, and then you have some real challenging targets that may only get you know three
Yeah,
or four or five marks on them through the entire match. I'm just kind of wondering where if you could uh, maybe give us an idea where you guys landed on that sort of target size selection for your matches.
so for us, so as our match evolved and as we've moved forward with it, we grew as shooters. We're competitors ourselves, and so
Sure.
naturally we want to challenge ourselves. And so when we look at a stage now, and this is where Dawson already alluded to, he keeps me in check a bit. I'll look at a stage and I'll be like, no man, this is a minute and a half target, 1 minute target stage. And he's like, Curtis, if there's 5 competitors that show up that can hit that target, great, but we're not. And I
Right.
and so I kind of challenge, I push those boundaries, and that's why Dawson and I work together so well. Is that I seem to push boundaries a little bit, and Dawson's really good at just kind of reeling me back in a bit. And so um, we'll design a stage and we'll look at it based on the prop. If it's a real stable prop, obviously we're going to shrink some targets. But we might, like this year in particular, we went really target heavy. We got some stages
Mm.
with six,
Okay.
7, 8 targets on a stage.
Oh wow.
That is something that you see at Pro Series matches. That's going to be a tough stage for some beginner shooters. But then we followed it up right after that stage. You're going to run into a stage that's pretty forgiving. And
Mm.
so the idea there is that it challenges some of the elite guys who show up, so that
Yeah.
they can come around to our 19 stages or 18 stages, sorry, and they can be really challenged, say on 6 of them. Um, and then the rest of them are maybe just normal stages that they run into, and then the rest of the pack is still gonna be able to get lots of impacts and have a good day. We don't want people to go away discouraged, but as match directors, I find it's a balance between challenging pro shooters and having a new guy that's never shot show up and want to come back next year. And so
Yeah.
I think we do a pretty good job of that. We haven't had too many comments about target sizes at our match. We've had a couple, but not many. And we always ask people to send us email, send us text, call us, tell us what you think, because
Mm.
if you think we make it too challenging, let us know. Like that's
Yeah.
we're putting the match on for you. We don't put it on for ourselves. So
Yeah.
we want to cater to
You
you.
kind of have to make the game playable by most people, I think. Otherwise, you end up having no game after a while.
Exactly.
honest.
Yeah, and you don't want to push people away. Yeah.
What's Yukai Kazi saying now? Wait, we have Yukai Kazi. He's one of the very regular chirpers. We get distracted by him all the time. You know what? I years ago, Jens and I, especially Jens and I guess, tried to host some matches out at the farm at our range out there, and there's lots of things, right? There's you'll get 24 interested shooters, and 9 show up for a match, sort of thing, and you get a couple of guys. Well, Jesus Christ, how the hell am I supposed to hit that? And there was also a lot of the, oh, you got home field advantage kind of thing, and maybe there was some truth to that, where we shot that range all the time, so we have some what do you say, home field knowledge, I guess, with the way the winds are and all that kind of stuff. And but you know what, a minute and a half target is still a minute and a half target for everyone. And maybe I'm getting a little softer in my old age, but I kind of doubt that. But, I have a, how do I describe this accurately? I have a very engorged fuck you center in my brain, right in behind my amygdala, and I don't give a shit. If you're gonna whine, then whatever. You know, there's some tissue on your way out, but at the same rate, you have to consider if guys just whine and pout and they don't want to show up. Well, again, like you don't have a game after a while. So
some people just need to produce hot air too. So
well, that's true. There are some people out there that I'm convinced if they didn't have anything to complain about, they wouldn't have anything to say at all. So
those type of people, I like to say, if you gifted them $1 million, you'd still be $1 short.
yeah. So your range out there, the location you have your matches on, is it? Describe the terrain to me. Is it? I'm not familiar with that area really. Is it flat, or are there hills? Do you have some bush and all that kind of stuff? And what sort of arc of fire do you guys have out there?
Go ahead, Doss.
It's a bit of a, well, it depends, I guess, what part of Canada you're from, but it's a ravine or it's a coulee that more or less runs east to west.
Okay.
And then there's a couple fingers. There's one finger that runs to the south. And so there's a little bit of bush on the north side of it that we always typically have a target or two in. But for the most part, it's just shooting into the banks of the ravine from different directions, and you can just about do 360. You can't really shoot much to the north. It's just ag field to the north, but everywhere else is good.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a coulee or a ravine or a draw, and the cows keep it mowed for us, and then the farmer there, come match time, he moves them to another paddock, and that certainly cuts down on the cow patties.
You can hardly ask for
so
better.
It's just eggland with a bit of a ravine in it.
That's awesome. So Have you guys been out to the Sapril shoots out by Medicine Hat there?
I've only attended the Tabor one, and
Okay.
so we'll get to this hopefully
I
later
have
on
no,
here,
no,
but
Kurt.
I do want to. I've kind of come up with a little
Mhm.
way. Dawson and I have come up with a little way about figuring out how to get match directors around our country and into different matches, and we kind of started that this season.
Okay.
I'll just go into it right now, quick.
Yep, go ahead.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah, basically we just so what Dawson had done is the
It's not going to
Apex.
be quick.
Okay,
That's all right, man.
Sounds like you
so
guys
the
know each other.
yeah, so the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge there,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
gifted them a
He's been waiting for
couple.
his chance.
We've gifted them a couple match certificates for our
Mhm.
match, and then Dawson and I have come up with this idea, and we want to run it by everybody. Well, here we are, I guess. So
Here we
we were
go.
just
Yep.
talking about match directors shooting everyone's matches for free. If you're a match director, you come to our match, you shoot for nothing. If you hosted a match the previous year, you get a free ticket to any match across Canada the next year, and that just gets us match directors talking together. We see each other's
Yep.
matches, we learn from one another, and
Yeah.
we get all on the same page. And so
Actually,
it's
you know
something
what,
we want to
guys? I
kind of
think that's
implement.
yeah, I think that's really important. Being a match director and ROs are not easy
Yeah,
jobs, and not
no,
everybody wants them. Not everybody has the patience for that. Those duties, right? But they are essential. Without those guys, those people, we don't have these events, do we?
no. And so that's kind of what our idea was, is if you put on a match the year before, you're rewarded with free entry to any match you want to attend in Canada. And if match directors could get on board with that, then
Mm-hmm.
it gives a bit of incentive. And it also just, I don't talk to every match director. I do talk to a few of them, but I'd love to meet
Mhm.
them all and be at their match and learn from them. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it would help the sport in general.
So how far have like
Yeah.
let's just dig into that a little bit more. How far have you been able to get with that, and kind of what stage are you at with it? What sort of feedback have you gotten so
Uh,
far, and I guess what do you need to help
You
that along?
you heard it here first.
Is
It
that
was
right?
yeah,
Mhm.
it was an idea we had. We
Yeah.
reached out to Apex. We gave them
Okay.
um, we just donated to their match in hopes that
Yep.
it would draw people from their area to ours, and they did the same to
Right.
us. They gave us
Right.
the
Mhm.
same thing. But the idea of the match director thing was something we came up with, and whoever's going to listen to
Mm-hmm.
this podcast is going to hear it here first, and hopefully it generates conversation and takes off on its own, to be honest.
Well, you know what, you guys, let's continue to talk about this a little bit, and if I think if we can help, we'll do that. We're in kind of deep with Apex
Yep,
ourselves,
yep.
and they're quite well connected as well. So um, I think this is a great initiative that
Hmm.
should be pursued. Everybody talks about
Mhm.
these events growing
Yep.
in Canada, or the need to grow, but it's like there's a wall from uh, southeastern Ontario
Yeah.
through to about where you guys are, maybe even a little further west. Saskatchewan's almost out of the picture entirely, and then Alberta and some of BC. So
Um,
if we could help to amalgamate or
so
connect some of that.
if you want to expand on that, we might as well just keep going down this trail,
Sure.
I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Dawson and
Yeah.
I
Go
have
for it, Kurt.
okay. So Dawson and I have had numerous conversations about this. I was actually on the phone last night with Vanya. Um,
Mhm.
I was actually heading to a no power call. I'm a lineman by trade, and so I had about a 40-minute
Or
drive,
another electrician.
and
We're surrounded.
Vanya he texted me and asked me if we'd made a decision on the PRS Pro Series avenue, and so I said, just give me a call. So we got talk. I think we talked for 30 or 40 minutes last night, and
He's a good dude, man. Yeah.
so we talked about a bunch of different things and where our matches are headed, or where the sport's headed in Canada. And so for us, um,
Not just Canada, though, the world's too, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's truly
so
global now. So
so where this all started was the worlds, right? The world competition and the formation of Capra and how we go forward with facilitating the competitors who want to achieve those types of goals. I think it's a great thing for Canada. I think it's a great thing for our sport. It's no different than when if you have kids or you were a kid and you're playing minor sports, you achieve to go to another level.
Right.
We never really had that in PRS in Canada until the world showed up. And
Been very spotty, hey?
so I think Team Canada is an unbelievable thing for people to achieve to do. And there's going to be most competitors will never ever decide to do those types of things, and that's totally fine. But for the people who are doing it, I think we need to facilitate that. Now, um, Capra did, in my opinion, and I've talked to many competitors and many match directors. So I'm going to give you my opinion, and this doesn't speak for anybody else. It's just me. I think Capra did a good job of what they had to work with for the 2024 selection of Team Canada. I think
yeah, definitely, it's
we
a
already
time crunch.
we already
Yeah.
shot 22, we already shot 23,
Yeah.
and they had to pick a team. And I've said to people who had maybe negative comments to say, I said, okay, tell me how they should have picked it then. And
That's a
nobody's
good
ever,
thing,
and
man.
nobody,
Yep.
and nobody's ever given me an answer. So
Mm,
I think they did well with the cards they were dealt, and
right.
but I think going forward, there is room for improvement. Um,
Sure.
I think there's ways that we can do this so that all current match directors can get on the same page. So right now there's a bit of a push to join PRS Pro Series, and for us, we have. I've been in talks with Ken Wheeler over the last 3 weeks or so, deciding
Oh yeah.
how
Mm,
we go ahead with it. I'm gonna just say it here first that you just don't email Ken Wheeler and say, "Hey, hi, I'm Pancake Lake Precision, and I'm gonna host a 2-day Pro Series match next year." There's requirements to that, right? Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so with talking back and forth to him, um, he feels with our join of WPR this year, um, you know, with the expectation that this year goes well, that he figures that we can fit right into a 2025 PRS Pro Series match for the schedule next year. So that's good news
Exactly.
for
mm,
us. Um,
Yeah.
but what that told me was that it doesn't mean that just every match across Canada can just snap their finger and be a Pro Series. And I'm not saying so. Sapril and Colton and other match directors have been doing this longer than us. So I'm not saying that we're better than anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if the
mm,
right people talk to Ken Wheeler, that they could probably jump through some of the hoops and maybe not have to do certain things. And
Right.
so I'm saying that could happen. Um, but then I asked myself the question: is PRS Pro
Yeah, and I don't think
Series
it's coming out that way either, Kurt.
right?
Where it sounds like you're
Right.
better than anybody. That's I
Okay, good.
don't. I'm not picking up that at all.
Okay. And so I don't know if PRS Pro Series is the answer. I think it's easy. Like if every match director said, "Hey, let's go Pro Series," and we had 5, 6 matches in Canada, and the requirements right now is that you need 6 matches across 2 years to qualify for the Worlds. Hey, we just solved our problem. We got 12
Right.
matches in 2 years to attend. You get some selection. Problem solved. Problem is that there's guys who have started that don't want to do that. And when I say that, I've
yep.
seen match directors don't want to do it. And so I sit there and go, okay, well, let's not make them do something. Lots of these guys are pioneers of the sport here in our country. So what I would like to do is I like to sit down and facilitate a meeting amongst match directors, Capra, and sit down and say, well, why don't we just come up with a set of standards, Canadian national standards,
Right.
where we just take
Yep.
maybe we take the PRS rules, we maybe simplify them a bit, and we say, hey, match directors, can you guys get on board with this? And if you can, great. Your match now counts for Team Canada points. If you don't want
Yep.
anything to do with it, totally fine. You don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you decide to jump on board with that, great. You can still join the PRS Pro Series if you want as match directors and do both.
Right.
So it just gives lots of options. It's something I would like to. I'm not the only guy with this idea. Everyone's talking about it. It's
Mhm.
just we're on this platform right now tonight, and I thought, what a
We
better
want to
place
we
to
want to
start the
keep
conversation.
the Canadian shooters qualify for Team Canada to shoot in Canada.
Yes. So there's, I suppose there's a couple of things there that, um, at some point, and I know there's been lots of criticism about lots of different things in every bloody discipline, right? But this whole precision rifle thing is still pretty much in its infancy in Canada.
Mhm.
And very grassroots too.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
much.
Very
Yeah.
much so.
And yeah, lots of kind of little spot fires around, I guess, if you know what I'm talking about, where there's never really been an amalgamation of anything up until like this year. There's starting to get some, and it's funny. People are fickle, right? They have all sorts of criticisms while they're sitting on their fucking couches watching a podcast like this or texting each other on Facebook Messenger or whatever, and not actually getting off their asses and doing anything. But you know what? You got to start somewhere, and God bless those people who do actually start doing something and making connections and planning and stuff like that. I suppose maybe one of the things that has to be done is create a sort of priority list. Do we want to support shooters making Team Canada going with the direction that the Capra thing is going, the Team Canada thing, to get a select number of shooters to whatever event, destination, whatever,
Right.
or is it more important to get into PRS stuff or Western precision rifle or whatever? There's all sorts of choices out there on this continent.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of choosing which direction. Now, and it's hard to tell most people this. Pick a direction, go. You don't have to perfect it, but you've got to refine it to a point where it runs well. Then you can branch out into different things. And while you're going along that path to refining a certain discipline or direction, let's say, you will pick up new shooters. That's just kind of the way these things go. These evolutions, right? And from there, once you have numbers, I think you can branch out and expand. But it's just getting to that point. We live in a society where that instant gratification runs our effing lives. And if we don't have that, if somebody doesn't come up with a perfect platform this year to run in August, it's shit. So, man, I commend you guys for taking up this, I guess, fight, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
And I don't consider it a fight. I consider this just a
No, it's the
conversation.
wrong word, but it's
No,
the only one
and
that came to mind.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so the way I kind of look at that is like you said, there's tons of options. You can go WPR, you can go PRS, you can go your own way. You can go with what you've had for the last 10 years.
Well, what did we have 10 years ago?
Yeah, so yeah, so you don't have to do anything different. Nobody's making you. I just think the conversation should start like, let's just. I know PRS is made, and I know PRS is a well refined machine, but the market there
Sure.
and the market here just seems so different.
Very
Um,
Mm.
and to me, I look at I want to keep these shooters in Canada, not just because I'm a match director,
Yeah.
but because I talk to sponsors who sponsor us, who
Yeah.
these competitors, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. I do not fault anybody ever for going down to shoot.
No.
It's your money, it's your weekend. You do what you want with it.
100%.
No way will I ever fault somebody for doing that. But if I can make it compelling to come to Pancake Lake because we conform
Right.
to a set of standards that CAPA
Right.
recognizes so that you can shoot on the national team based on scores you achieve at our match. And
Right.
maybe I join the PRS or we've joined the PRS Pro Series and you come and gain points and those points go towards the PRS finale. That's pretty
Right.
appealing to come to Pancake
Yeah.
Lake. Um,
100%, man.
Mm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so that's good for Pancake Lake. But I don't want to be the guy who does that and creates division among match directors
Yeah.
and competitors, and I don't want to
Yeah.
be that guy. So I'm sitting here on this um, public stage telling people, hey,
Hmm.
I want to sit down so that I don't go one direction and see somebody else's match fail because those competitors aren't coming to
Sure.
that match anymore. I want to sit down and
Yeah.
say,
Mm.
hey, how can we all have attractive matches in Canada,
Right.
not not involve any other entity,
Hmm.
but if you choose to partner with another entity on top of the Canadian national standards,
Yeah.
Right.
go
Right.
nuts.
Yeah.
Um,
Not involve any other entity out of necessity. Right.
right, and then we keep all that
Yeah.
money, not all the money, because don't get me wrong, I'm gonna go shoot matches in the States next year. Um,
Yeah.
Mm. Dawson and I are going to go down to NRL Hunter Road next year as far as competitors, and so that's where
Yeah.
we're headed. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna I don't want someone to sit there and say Kurt's a hypocrite next year because I'm not.
Hmm.
I get that you can go there, but I want to give you reason to keep your money in Canada and support our vendors and our
Right.
industry
Right.
um, as much as
Yep.
possible. Um,
Yeah.
Unless we want to keep sort of facilitating this tiny little empires everywhere that
Right.
never intermingle, because that's what's
Yeah.
happening right now.
yeah, and like I said,
Clusters.
I would love to be the guy that just sends out a bunch of emails and says, "Hey, we have a meeting at some um, office building in
Sure.
Saskatoon, and I want Capper and all the match directors to be there." But who's Curtis Gordon and who's Pancake Lake Precision? And so I don't have the pedigree, I don't think, to gain the crowd, but I think there are people in our country that have
Mm.
that pedigree,
Yep.
and our email and our phone numbers are always on. You send us an email, and I would love to talk to you, and let's set it up. Let's get everyone in one building.
Yep. Yeah. That would be good for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and
Hmm.
Yeah. I
I think
appreciate you
I think
going out on that kind of road, because I think it is. I think it's a road well worth traveling. So.
I do too. Yeah.
Well, I think there are a few more like-minded people like you guys around, starting to realize what you're talking about, and actually wanting to do something about it. See you later, Dawson.
I got her, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's coming back.
Hey
There you go.
there.
Oh, hello everybody. Yeah.
Where's
I didn't even
Waldo?
have time to get another beer.
Yeah.
See, I told
Are you familiar with a guy named
that was going to be a
Elon
quick
Musk?
discussion by Kurt there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's really good to hear you guys. That's I'm feeling a little bit ashamed of myself. I've been aware of you guys for several years now, but I never much looked into things. I'm kind of in my own little bubble here as well.
Don't feel bad about that. We've been under our own little bubble for a long time, and only in the last couple of years have we really decided that we wanted to be somewhat leaders in in
Mm.
growing this, and it's just like the reason we started Pancake Lake Precision and started shooting matches, because we wanted to see more matches. So instead of being part of the problem, let's be part of the solution. So I see a problem right now. So
Yeah.
if let's just do it. Let's just figure it out.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, well, good for you guys. It's a tough thing, and I'd considered it in the past too. One of my biggest problems is I work away,
Right.
like probably, what is it, 700 miles away for 2 weeks out of every bloody month. So, and I went through this too with kids, coaching sports and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just not possible for me, at least in a consistent manner, right? But you think, you know what, you can start something, and I have the land, I have the equipment, I have a good base of shooters that are willing to come out and participate in these things. What's it going to take to evolve this and grow it and make it into something really attractive where so many other people will want to come? What sort of effort and time is that going to take to manage that whole thing? And what's the payoff in the end? And the only payoff I'm talking about is the growth, the continuation of that event, and to keep people coming to shoot that event. Really, that's all I think people like us want. We're not looking to get rich off anything like this or anything like that.
Yeah.
We want to be able to expand the game that we love, and have people come and enjoy what you enjoy, and see all those faces, do all the networking and all that kind of stuff. But to make that step out the door, it's all fine to plan indoors in your living room with a buddy or whatever, while you're spitballing on the range after a good day of shooting or something like that. You know, we should get another
We're pretty good at that, actually.
dozen people or something like that out, and man, we can do this. How many times have I said, man, we can do this? Can you really? It's not an easy thing. That first step out that door,
It's a big
go down
commitment.
that path, is a tough one.
And I'll tell you what, Dawson and I have had some times during our over the years where we've wondered if what we were doing is worth it. And you know what?
Oh yeah.
It's just like anything. You just keep putting one foot in front of the next. And I always say, like, for me, I have a community service to. I feel like I have a community service to this community because I have children, and I want my children to have an opportunity to play this sport because I love it. And for me to give up, I feel like that's just a beginning
You're
of giving
failing,
up
right? That's
on
that
them.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
We feel
I'm just-
that way
Yeah.
like a
I'm
week
just gonna
before the
I just gotta
match.
plug my computer in. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah, no
We
worries.
kind of feel that way before like a week before the match, and when we're stressed and wondering how things are going to go, and who's going to show up, and maybe registrations are down, that kind of stuff. But come Sunday, when everybody is unwinding and everybody's sitting around having a drink or two, and we're handing out prizes and talking about the rankings, to me that's the rewarding part. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy seeing everybody come out there and have fun, and we're all
Yeah.
like-minded people. And as much stress as sometimes running the matches cause us, come Sunday in the afternoon when the last shot rings off, and it's a big sense of relief, and it's very rewarding for me. Yeah.
Well, that sense of accomplishment, right? That's a pretty big deal
Yeah.
to guys, I think, that are like us. You know, it's
Yeah.
you know, Yukai Kazi, he's one of our very, very regulars. He says something that I've heard lots in lots of different applications, not just this one. He says, he just typed into the chat here a little bit ago, if you're good at something, never do it for free. That's great, but what are your aims? What are you trying to build? What's the payback that you really want? If what you're after is money, fame, fortune, whatever, go ahead. That's a great outlook for things. If you're good at something, never do it for free. Awesome. However, stuff like this, when we come to these matches, do we make any money off of anything? We're spending money, 100%. It's a recreation enjoyment thing. I don't think it's a status thing. I think it is for some people maybe, but very few.
Yeah.
Especially in Canada, I think it's more so. More so for lack of a better way to put it, the camaraderie, the community. I hate that word community. It gets overused like crazy, but the networking and all that kind of stuff. I think that's more important to a lot of people like us, to be honest, in at least this discipline.
Mhm.
And I'll speak.
I think Oscar just
Right.
said it best here on
Yeah.
paper. He said, "Not all pay is monetary."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll speak for
not all
myself,
just
and
about the
Dawson,
money.
you can chime in. But
You want to add, Mike?
how much money have you taken out of this since we've started this 7 years ago? Mine's zero.
Yeah.
Is yours
Yeah.
more than zero? It better not be.
It's hanging out in the pasture, covered in cow shit.
Yeah. So,
Right.
and I've said it to a few people. I'd rather you remember my name at the end of all this, than to make a bunch of money doing it. And if somebody can do this after me and makes a bunch of money because we created a sport that's sustainable,
Sure.
great.
Sure. Yep.
Mm.
Right. Yeah. I'm a little bit shallower than that. Even I don't give a shit if anybody remembers my name, but I would love if somebody remembered my range. You know, remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that range out by
That
Saskatoon?
cranky guy with the beard.
Yeah, that old
Covered in
miserable
cow shit.
prick, but he had a great range.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Oh, here's Mike.
Yeah.
We're gonna let him into the show here.
Can you hear me now?
Ta-da! Look at that
You made it.
mustache, son of a gun. Hey, did you just get out of a porn shoot? I'm just wondering that.
Yeah,
mustache is
looks like you did.
Oh no, the AVNs are in January. Still gotta qualify.
Yeah, so you know what, like Oscar says, not all pay is monetary. I mean, if you're great as a parent, do you expect pay from that?
Not too many get rich, no.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm done bitching about that for now. For now. I'll probably pick it up later in the evening. Maybe another whiskey or two.
Yeah.
UK Kazi, man, we value his inputs, honestly, even if he is on acid right now.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so unless you had more important stuff on this topic, we can move on to your hunting endeavors. But there's one more thing I want to just get through before we leave this particular topic. So you have the Pancake Lake Open next weekend, this coming weekend, right? Or
Yeah.
I guess what are we at? Friday.
Father's Day
So
weekend.
next
Yeah.
week, Friday. Okay. So there's that one. It's a 2-day event, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
June 15th and 16th.
Okay.
That's right.
So you have another couple events too, don't you, coming up this year?
Dawson, you cover this.
Waiting for the
What's
delay.
Did you?
I'm frozen again.
Okay, sorry. I'll jump in then. So Engage Precision is a sister company to Dominion Outdoors. Okay, so Dominion Outdoors. If people don't know who Dominion Outdoors is, it's a business in Winkler, Manitoba. They're huge into the PRS stuff. Check their website out if you haven't. They got a ton of stuff. They really are.
Accessories and retail
They
stuff,
are
right?
really one of the best in the country if you haven't heard of them.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
selection
And so-
of accessories too.
Yeah, so Engage Precision is a sister company of them, and they make steel targets. That's the primary business of Engage. So Engage Precision is our title sponsor, and Engage Precision also is a title sponsor of the Inner Lake Barrel Burner.
The barrel burner.
And that is Justin Peters and Dominion Outdoors in that clan. That's their own match. So it really has nothing to do with us. We're actually going to go there and we're going to win it, I believe, right, Doss?
Well, I am.
Who's
I
first?
don't think we can
Who's
do that.
second?
Playing, Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of how that works. Yeah, so they're the title sponsors of two of the Manitoba 2-day matches there.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah,
Once
sorry.
Again, I
Yeah.
feel
Lot
a
of
bit
lot of
ashamed.
precision
Again,
out there.
homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
We're here because we didn't do homework in school, so doing homework as adults.
I just want to say, fuck you, Mr. Jarvis, and no, I didn't go pump gas like you suggested. Here I am on a national podcast, so just had to get that out.
Yeah. Not venting at all.
Fucking grade 11 biology teacher. Get stuff. Okay. Anything else in that regard, you guys?
I don't think
Or
so. I
young
think we
hunting.
touched on most of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sons of guns had a couple of pretty interesting hunts this spring.
Yeah, significant. Yeah.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
that sounds pretty humble.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about your 2024 hunting season so far.
Do you want to cover the sheep one, or do you want to cover Africa?
I'll cover the sheep
Okay.
one. We'll see how it goes with the delay and stuff. So we went on an odd-ad hunt in West Texas. It all kind of started when we didn't get drawn for antelope or speed goats in Wyoming. So Kurt got on the old Google machine there and figured out where else we could go. So he drummed up an odd-ad or barberry sheep hunt in West Texas. And so we went with Kurt's dad, Donnie. We all flew down to El Paso and then had a 3-hour drive to Marfa to John Porsche Farms, I think is the name. I think I pronounced it properly. And so it was a 3-day hunt. We went out the first evening and saw some rams. Kurt got a little antsy and had to talk him down off the ledge. And no, you don't need to shoot one in the first 36 minutes. So we
Sounds too easy.
yeah, exactly. So then the next morning we went out and we spotted a bunch of sheep early and ended up picking up 3 rams kind of on a mountainside and big vast country. Like you can see for miles and miles and miles and miles. And it makes sense why those ranches down there are so big. And why you require so many acres, because you can see 10, 15,000 acres at any given time kind of thing. So we saw these group of rams. We tried chasing them and getting close, and they are just way too efficient. And we doubled back kind of on our tracks and then around the end of a mountain, and they had us pegged down. They were silhouetted on the top of the mountain and had us pegged there before we even realized it. So we got proned out, and then we just played the waiting game. We had probably about 45 minutes to figure out wind,
Inclination.
slope, inclination. So they were at 636 yards. And I guess Kurt gave me the privilege. I had spotted the rams first, so he said, "You spotted them, you get to shoot first." And there was 2 good shooter rams, and then one just kind of mediocre. And he would bed down and stand up, and bed down and stand up, and he'd just be facing straight on or behind a rock or something. And so our guide, Brant was his name. He had his iPhone set up through his Razor spotter scope, and so finally that ram stood up, and we were all proned out and super steady and everything, had the cameras rolling. And he stood up and took a step to I guess to my right, and presented a broadside shot. And we had kind of just decided, like, we said, if that second ram presents a shot, he's shooting as well. The first ram presented a shot, and I hit him just in front of the shoulder in the neck, and he dropped and the second one stood up right behind him. And within a matter of a second or two, Kurt sent a 28 Nosler round about this far from the end of the horn of mine that was laying there dead, just about blew the horn off and dropped the second one. So it was pretty cool. And we got some crazy good footage of it. The vapor trail through the guide's spotter and everything.
Right.
Yeah, it was everything I had hoped for. We got some really good footage, some long range shooting, and we both killed really nice rounds. Yeah. What did I miss, Kurt?
You know what? Kurt yesterday sent me a couple of videos when we were chatting back and forth, and again, ashamed of myself a little. I suppose a little bit, maybe. Not too much.
Yeah.
That I'm not tech savvy enough to play it here, but yeah, it looked like some pretty damn good stuff there.
If is it out there in the world for people to find somewhere?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On like a social media or something like that, or is it kind of private, that video?
Didn't we put it
It's
on
on
our
our Pancake
Pancake Lake
Lake, right?
Precision?
Did I see it on your Instagram
it
or
is.
Facebook or something?
Facebook,
I can't
yeah.
remember. Okay.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you scroll down far
So
enough, you'll find it.
Then
Okay. Cool.
That's awesome.
Audience,
Go there now, but not now.
and Kurt's
'cause you
dad got
need
an
to keep
Instagram the
watching
next
this
day.
show. So
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
We had to
that's
work a little
interesting
harder
country
for
down there
that
in
one. We
Texas.
spent the day.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Spent the day looking for that one, but he got one at 250 yards, I think. Yeah, so it was good. He was super excited as well.
Nice. Okay, so what did you guys do in Africa then? And okay, so which was first? Your sheep hunt in
Sheep hunt
Texas?
was first. Yeah, so we went
March.
we went sheep hunting first week of March or second week of March, and then we got home and there was about 3 weeks or 3.5 weeks, and then we left for Africa.
So Oscar with Ribstone Gunsmithing here, or owns Ribstone
Right.
Gunsmithing, is going to Africa. His primary animal is a water buffalo, right? Cape buffalo story.
Okay.
And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
happening when?
3 weeks.
3 weeks from now, he says. So yeah,
Well,
he's
make sure we get
his
some
ears
photos.
perked up a little bit.
Yeah. He also has some fondlers in his hand.
This is what he's taken.
Well, that's
416
probably a good choice.
416 Nitro Express.
500 416 nitro.
Nice.
And
Nice.
what size of bullet is that?
410.
Nice.
410 grain bullet. Like that should tell you
Mm-hmm.
how big that sucker is. I don't
Yeah.
have small hands.
Yeah.
I've shot that double rifle in Greenhorn here with a double rifle. I chose to squeeze the front trigger first. The successive 2 shots were rather quick, like immediate. It was interesting.
Yep.
Anyway, tell us about your Africa trip.
Unforgettable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we booked this odd-ad hunt. How long before? About a year almost, eh? Doss?
Mm-hmm.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had it booked. And here's the cool thing about the shooting sport. So we were at a shooting match last summer, and I'm not going to use the guy's name because I didn't ask for permission. But we met a guy, a South African from sorry, he's from South Africa at the match, and I got to chatting with him in between Saturday, Sunday, and he was telling me where he was from, and I kind of winked at him and said, "Hey, if you ever need a buddy to go to South Africa, just let me know." And he kind of took it seriously at the time, and I kind of, it's one of those things where you have a beer with a guy and he promises you something and then you never hear from him again. Yeah. So
A lot of those.
I kind of thought that's where we were headed with it. talked to him a couple times after the match, just as friends, and then all of a sudden one day, was it around Christmas time, Dawson, or just before? October, maybe
Just
November.
before, I think.
Yeah, October, November. He sends me a text and says, "How serious are you about Africa?" And I said, "When do we leave?"
You
know,
dirty son of a bitch.
and
I'm in.
so he calls me and he goes, I want a few guys to come along. Who do you think would want to go? And I'm like, well, I know who's going. And he goes, yeah, are they in? I said, yeah, they're in. Yeah, they're. But I said I'll call them, but yeah, they're in.
Yeah.
So this gentleman, he was from there. He grew up there most of his life, and so we got kind of a different experience of Africa. We flew into Johannesburg. Actually, are we going way overboard here on time?
No, not at all.
We got all the time in the world.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Listen,
So,
I just want to do some more shooting out here before the sun goes down, but we got an hour or so.
Okay. So so I'm just gonna stop it right there for just a second. So when we were planning this trip, my biggest fear of going to Africa wasn't anything to do with what was in Africa. It was losing my firearm while getting to Africa. And Dawson, do you want to take over for a minute here?
I experienced it. My rifle had a slight detour to Florida. Yeah, so I was the one out of the group that didn't have a gun show up in Africa. So, I mean, it was okay. I burnt some of Kurt's ammo. I burnt some of his dad's ammo. So yeah, it wasn't
saved a
too
lot of money
bad.
actually.
Yeah. The 8-hour round trip back to Johannesburg a day later to get my rifle wasn't too fun, but you know that was really the only hiccup we had in the whole trip. So it was bound to happen to one of us. And Kurt has a really nice 7 Psalm that I really like shooting, so I was perfectly okay shooting a bled buck in an Impala with his rifle.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what did you guys take then for firearms?
I had a custom built Defiance, kind of full carbon deal in a 7 Psalm. Dad took a 7 mag in a Fierce carbon. I can't remember which one. And Dawson had a really nice Tika 270 short mag.
It's a Dawson 270 short mag and a Tika.
Dawson has a lot of nice firearms, and he took a Tika. Anyways, it did the trick. He shot a lot of animals with it.
Right.
So anyways, back to kind of the trip there. So Chris, I said his name. So anyways, he
you didn't say his last name, so
no, that's right. It wasn't Hoyen.
I knew that was going to happen, Kurt.
Yeah. So anyways, he decided to take us on this trip, and there were so many times that we were planning this trip that I said to Dawson, I'm like, how did we fall into this? It felt surreal so many times, and that a guy from Africa was taking us to Africa.
From Manitoba heading to Africa.
And I'll tell you what, it was a dream of mine, and I don't think I ever thought it was going to happen. And then all of a sudden here, we were going, and we got a different experience because we got to hunt on a lot of his family farms, his friends' farms. It was a very different feel. So we flew into Johannesburg. We drove 4 hours to his buddy's place. We stayed at this beautiful guest house there. Hunted on, I'm not going to say any names. We hunted on a farm. There we did really well. I think the first day we had 6 or 8 animals in the truck maybe, and
8, I think.
8, and then the guy told us we were all done at 2 o'clock. So Dawson left for Johannesburg to go get his gun, and so he didn't really miss any hunting.
Right.
So we hunted there, I think one more day maybe, and then we took off to another guy's place,
Zebra
and
was
it
the
was
next place.
okay. And then we took off to another guy's place, and that was probably for me the coolest place. It was a totally free range kudu hunt. It was just natural,
Right.
wild Africa. It was
Postcard
it was
Africa kind of
yeah, it was a very
brings me
special hunt.
drugs and
That one, and we got to stay with a cool old man that treated us like gold, and um, let us.
Wow.
He just
lots
let
of
us take
stories.
his
Yeah.
vehicles, and one day it was a slow day, and Dawson and I just took his Land Cruiser and went pig hunting. We just took off, and
Oh
we're
wow.
just.
Is
I
that
remember
right?
driving around thinking I'm in the middle of. I don't know, no idea where I am in the world, and
Right.
I'm just pig hunting. Or actually, I'm not even pig hunting.
Mhm.
I'm hunting anything I see.
Yeah.
You know, just having the time of our life, and um, yeah, even now I still don't think
So
I've
how?
fully reflected on it, but
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
A little bit surreal.
How does
yeah.
that go down there with tags or permits or whatever you want to say?
So there really is no tag or permitting system. If you own land, you own everything on that land, game, whatever it is. So as long as you
And
have
it's not
permission,
the
you have
king's
permission.
deer like it is here.
So it's,
No.
but it's different there because the people manage their herds so well.
Okay.
They do an unbelievable managing their own specific properties, where that doesn't happen here. Or maybe it would if
Well,
that's how it was, but I don't think so. I don't know.
mhm.
Um,
Too much government intervention here.
the
Is
the the
all that
the
is.
entire dynamic's a total different thing, but um,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So basically, the only requirement there is you need to hunt with an outfitter or a professional hunter, and so that's what we had a PH everywhere we went to hunt with, and
Sure.
that was how that went, kind of thing.
Nice. Very nice. So, what did you end up coming home with?
Tell them about your kudu
I
hunt,
see
Kurt,
you
how
have
that went
some
down.
trophies on the in behind you there, Kurt.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
you,
here's the
you
thing.
must have tagged a few things over the years at least. Maybe
Yeah.
not on the
So
African.
this is my living room, and I'm fortunate enough to have a spouse that she might listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
She really enjoys them. She really,
You gotta
really
say
likes
very
these.
blessed.
Yeah.
Very blessed. You gotta use those
And
words. Very blessed.
and so I got 6 or 7 animals coming home from Africa that are going to be in the form of rugs or shoulder mounts. So the banister you see up here might home a few of them. I'm not sure exactly where they're all going to go yet, but she said I don't want our house to look like a museum, but
Right.
I think that's where we're headed.
Those, those ones though are pretty damn special though, coming from Africa,
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
Yeah, and
for sure.
They're not something you accidentally hit with the SUV on the way back home.
Right.
that's right. And then drive around town and show like you shot the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. I know a guy. There's a guy sitting right here that has a big old giraffe rug and God only knows what else. I don't even know what those animals are called, but they're cool. I go, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Reloading bench.
Yeah. You know,
Oh, that's good.
Before-
Good for you guys, man.
before I went to Africa, I didn't really so well, I already spilled the beans. So Chris says to me, he goes, "What animals do you want to shoot?" And I go, "Well, just give me a couple nights. I should Google them.
Find out.
I should see what I like." You know,
Open up the storybook as a kid.
yeah, I had a
Yeah.
couple in mind, but I definitely didn't have the full list for sure. But
Right.
Mm-hmm.
what an opportunity we
I think
got,
that-
and I'll be grateful forever for it. So
I bet. Yeah, good for you, man.
Bet.
I you know what? I think baboon would be on my list if I ever went.
ah,
just look like miserable pricks, and I would just
You
like
want
to shoot them in the face.
You want to talk about? Ooh, you want to talk about shooting baboons in the face, do you?
Let's do it.
Kurt
So-
has a
Oh, that
story.
door's
So-
open. It sounds like so.
So so the story gets better. So our hunt goes really good. We shot our animals. We basically filled our lists way sooner than we had planned to. So we ended up going down to the guy's sister's place, who they own a wine vineyard at Cape Town, near the coast. So we stayed at this wine vineyard, and well, it's a wine vineyard. It's a beautiful place. It's just a gorgeous country. We're in the valley of two giant mountains, and it was kind of a surreal place. And so we get there, and we meet the husband, or whatever. I think the first day we kind of went on a sightseeing tour. We go down the highway and we stop, and there's a whole bunch of baboons crossing the road. And I'm like, well, can we hunt these? Or I'm like, where do we hunt baboons? So I don't think much of it. And then the next morning, the brother-in-law, or the owner of the farm, says, hey, I found a place for us to hunt baboons. And I just, like, my ears perk up, and I'm like, we're hunting baboons? He goes, yeah, we're gonna go find some baboons. So I had my guns packed up, like, ready for the airport. So locks were off and we're ready to go. So it actually took us a couple days to find them. And then we found them, and so where we found them, they were kind of eating on so they eat all the apples and the oranges and the grapes, and they're, in the vineyards.
I've read that. Yeah.
And so they're extreme pests. So for anyone that thinks I'm a terrible person, if you shoot a coyote or think a coyote's okay to shoot, it's the same thing. Anyways, so
Or a raccoon.
or a raccoon, or
African equivalent.
You'll receive
Yeah.
no judgment from us.
yeah, okay, good. So we see them down below. So we drive the truck up there, and I get set up, and I look up, and I hit my rangefinder, and it's like 30 some degree incline, like straight up this hill. And it's like 450 yards. I can't remember what the range was. And I don't have my kestrel, and these animals are just flourishing up the hill, and I'm like, well, we got to take some off, like, so I just kind of guess, and I still shot a little high, and I cranked them right in the forehead. So Dawson goes,
Wasn't great for a photo
I'll
op,
call
but
that an ethical
No.
shot.
Yeah.
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 So Dawson goes, we got to go up there and get a picture of that thing, and I mean, this is extreme steep, and I have tennis shoes on. Like,
Yes.
I thought baboon hunting was just going to be a walk in the park, not.
Skechers.
So up we go, and we get to my baboon, and all of a sudden we hear a, and we look over, and the guy that took us there shoots one at like 600 yards off the top of the mountain, and this thing just free for alls down the, and I'm like, yeah, and then we're like, oh my goodness, and then all of a sudden there's another one sitting there, and then I look down, my dad's on the rifle, and Dawson's videotaping, and he cranked another one. So it was kind of it was kind of a cool baboon
Almost
hunt,
sounds
anyways.
like an overpatch.
Yeah.
It sounds like you
it
got
was,
a bonus adventure then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just there tasting wine and seeing Cape Town, and all of a sudden every day we seemed to find our way into a baboon hunt. So it was kind of
Yeah, it was cool.
Kill
kind of
stuff?
cool.
Okay. Right on. Well, we're getting to that hour and a half, unless you had something really really important to discuss.
No.
Why don't you
No,
guys tell us
appreciate it.
where we can find you guys?
Okay, well,
Kurt,
we're not
go ahead.
we're not everywhere. We're basically on Facebook at Pancake Lake Precision. But as far as anybody that wants to chat about what we talked earlier in the podcast, our email is open. It's pancakelake.precision@gmail.com. I don't care if you're a match director, a shooter. I don't care if you're a pro, a novice. I don't care if you're president of Capra. Send us an email. See what you think. Tell us what you think about what we talked about, and let's fire it up. Let's do something with it, and
Yep.
let's take PRS or take precision rifle to the next level here in Canada.
Yep. Agreed. All right, Mike, you've been like, I can't believe how much you've been talking here. You got anything to add? Finally, just get it out of you.
This is a good episode because I got to hear it as I'm yelling at
Like
my
speechless.
computer. I'm speechless. Just call me Blister.
All right. Well, if that's the case, right. Typical tradesman. Okay. Well, I just want to thank you guys, Dawson and Kurt, and for the rest of you listening here. Check out our show at facebook.com/BS podcast. Leave a review. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how this show was. I think it was great. Send us an email.
Uh-oh.
If anybody can hear.
Who froze?
There we go.
Appear to be offline.
I can hear you.
Gotcha.
Something's going on.
That's not
We can
good
hear
at
you.
all.
Well, fill the airtime with
The blue
small
donuts.
dance.
You sure the cell tower didn't
You're
blow?
gonna get kicked off this show.
Okay.
All right, can you guys hear us? I think we're back.
Yeah.
We're back.
Anyone? Bueller?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
I think.
I think we had a small technical gag there.
Mhm.
Anyway, send us an email at info@bspodcast.ca. And as usual, every show, we'd like to thank our sponsors again. Without our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do this, at least cheaply, every week. We'd like to thank Shane and Steve with EM Precision Rifles, Miles, Carey, and Cappy with the call sign 66, Duncan and Rob at Both Action Coffee, Phil Odell at Odell Engineering, Doug and Niza with March Scopes Canada, Vanya and Carly with Apex Optics, Oscar with Ribstone Gunsmithing, and J.R. Cox with The Shooting Edge. Thank you all very much. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and participating in the chat. And we hope you all have a good week. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, the Ballistically Speaking podcast.